Oh, I just hit it.
Good.
Okay, and I'll share my screen, and I will share. I will unshare my screen when it's time for you to show.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Full screen. Full screen. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Is the volume okay? Should I turn up the
volume's great, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And when I exit out of this, when I unshare my screen, I will let everybody know.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, hello everybody. Today is Thursday, December 13th. I am Olivia Clyde from Cloud App. We are excited to get started with this webinar, How to Boost Customer Loyalty Through Product Education, featuring the wonderful Waldo Broodryk. I'm going to annoy all of you with the accent name. It is South African name. But I think that we will get started in about 2 minutes. So for all attendees who are here so far, if you guys could just sit tight, we're going to allow the rest of the people to continually join, and we'll get started in about 120 seconds.
Sounds good. Awesome. How's it going? So I can just talk to people while we're waiting. Yeah. How's it going, Shane? Yeah. Feel free to send over any messages. So yeah, I believe it is being recorded. Yep.
Although I guess it's the time for us to have some exciting light banter as we have the final minute to go.
Yeah.
So without further ado, why don't we go on and get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Clyde. I'm on the content marketing team at Cloud App, which is a screen capture tool used for video, GIFs, any kind of rich media that you like to share to make your process more efficient. And we're so grateful to have all of you joining. I am here and I'm going to introduce, I won't say the lovely, the venerable Waldo Broodryk, the Customer Success Manager at Webflow. So Waldo, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Waldo, and I serve as a Customer Success Team Manager over at Webflow. So if you haven't heard of Webflow before, it's a professional web design tool to build sites visually without having to write code. So we're democratizing the web and software development. So,
perfect. Yeah, so for what you just said, Waldo, for the folks here who aren't quite familiar or as familiar with Webflow, it's this incredibly robust website design tool that enables marketers, designers, brand specialists, anyone you name it, freelancers, to create incredible websites without needing a really strong base in code. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you can do everything visually. Well, it's writing really clean semantic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and prototyping, all that jazz. Mm-hmm. We are huge fans of Webflow at Cloud App. Our website has gone through a metamorphosis thanks to you guys, so appreciate your effort.
I love Cloud App, so we use it every day. So.
You eat, sleep, and breathe it. I saw that on your page. The healthy diet. Okay, so I'm going to stop share so that everybody can just focus on our faces. So as for anyone here who's viewing the webinar, this is an interactive webinar, so we welcome all of you to submit questions through the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom window. Please feel free to ask anything you'd like to learn. Waldo is a fantastic guy who's willing to share whatever he knows. And just so all of you know, this webinar and the valuable content that is about to take place will be available to you all in published form on this coming Tuesday. So we're excited to get this content out to you guys, so no need to scurry and take notes or fear that you're missing anything good. So, all right. For today's agenda for the webinar, Waldo is going to discuss ways that we can learn how to amplify customer voice, educate customers with onboarding materials, offset competitors using your product's value proposition, so elevating your product next to everybody else in the market, as well as learning how to scale for a growing customer base, which it can be quite a challenge, but Webflow is clearly doing that successfully, and more. Oh, by the way, if at any point, Waldo, your connection goes down or something, I'm so excited for maybe the opportunity to say, "Where's Waldo?"
I can make that happen.
Just wait for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so to kick off, everybody knows they can submit questions through the Q&A, and if you can't do that, also feel free through the chat section. So Waldo, without further ado, I'm going to ask the first question about customer success and customer education. Obviously, customer success is this phenomenal proactive process that helps to do things like improve the renewal process, reduce customer churn, increase revenue, and help those customers ultimately succeed through your product and the service you offer them. So with that, education's huge. And so maybe we could start off by saying, Waldo, what does your team do to involve the customer in Webflow's education process?
Yeah. I mean, we ask for feedback on Webflow University. So we have this hub called Webflow University, where you can go and learn anything and everything about Webflow for free. And on all of those, you can actually ask questions, send them in, or like leave comments. And we look at that feedback every day and make updates to that. It's actually a site built in Webflow every day. Like we're constantly working on that, creating videos, documentation, tutorials, linking off to integrations, just finding new ways to interact, as well as we have the Webflow forum. It's an amazing community of just like designers, developers, creatives that get together and talk to one another and get to know each other. That's actually how I really got involved with Webflow. So directly through the forum, and met a lot of amazing people. I'd never really interacted on a forum before. So I was kind of like leery, like you don't know what the stigma is going to be like going into a forum. But it was just, everyone was so like welcoming, inviting. We have an amazing group of moderators too. And eventually I think I became a moderator and then ended up working at Webflow because of that. But yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of resources within the university, the forum, and then of course, you can reach out to us directly through the university. There's a contact link, and you can go through a form there to connect with us.
Great. Okay, so I bet that's especially useful for customers who want the interactive back and forth.
And a wish list.
Yep. Oh, wish list. How cool.
Yeah, we have a product wish list. So you can submit any ideas there. Anyone in the community can vote for them and leave comments, questions, and as like everyone in the community is like voting for them, it helps us prioritize like the needs of our community, which is super helpful.
Interesting. So it's like a whole new way to do feature requests and get like a popular, wow.
Yep.
Okay, that's fantastic. So Waldo, can I ask, how is the customer success team going about user research to figure out, aside from the chat you just mentioned and the votes, how are you guys going about your user research process to find out what they want to see?
Yeah, I mean, we're reading what they're asking for. A lot of that. So a lot of that's on the forum. We use Twitter all the time. I actually have TweetDeck open most of the time. And looking at any keywords around like Webflow or web design or development, like learning what customers or what anyone struggles with in the web design space. Because that's a lot of like the problem that we're trying to solve here at Webflow is to democratize the ability to like build for the web or building applications. So we're researching constantly. We're doing, I mean, our product team does a lot of like user studies, and we're reaching out asking like, how do they like it? I think we just sent out a form yesterday, like asking how they'd recommend Webflow. And we also communicate like product updates and ask for feedback within the application. A little since you've been gone modal that pops up, depending on essentially that shares like what product features we've most recently made. But yeah, I mean, it's just, we listen to our customers. That's what we do, and talk to them, ask them questions. When they reach out, we always ask them questions. going back, like, what can we do to make this product better, make this experience better?
Yeah. So speaking of listening and questioning your customers, how do you guys adjust your customer education approach according to the specific goals of specific customers? Customer success is all about helping them achieve those wild dreams that they have with your product. So how do you
I mean, it's a lot of creating new material resources, like on the Webflow blog. If you go check that out, we post something every week, if not every day. There's new material on there, and it's really resourceful material based upon questions that customers ask us. We'll go and find someone to produce content around that. Can you re-ask the question one more time?
Yeah. So what are you doing to cater your education to the goals of your customers? So say Susie has a specific goal she wants to do, or the outcome she wants with Webflow. How do you, and you just said that basically you guys will go and create customized resources for her even.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I mean, we're making videos too all the time. So we use Cloud App every day, or we record like a quick session within their actual site, showing them like in a read-only version. We'll make a video saying like, oh, you just have to make X, Y, and Z changes, and then point them to the right resources within Webflow University or on the forum, like different discussions to like learn more, because we want to teach them to fish instead of just fishing for them.
Very much. So you're enabling those customers, showing them. It's cool you thought out, by the way, to help them navigate that. But I think anyone here would really value the concept of democracy, like you've talked about. That's clearly like intrinsic to Webflow in everything you guys do, whether it's building new features into your product, getting customer feedback, and making it, what's the word, like contagious, spreading that out through every channel possible. Very, very good. So, Waldo, you've talked to me a little bit about what it means to amplify the customer voice. That's a very strong statement, a very inspiring one. So tell us what that means, your motto, to amplify.
Yeah. I mean, one of our core behaviors at Webflow is start with the customer. And that means that whatever the customers are sharing with us, we need to make sure that it's our responsibility, like we're the gatekeepers of that information, to share that with our entire company, with our different teams. And that means just like, if they're saying something, we have to be the ones that champion that like request, or if they're struggling with something or they're running into a bug or anything like that. It's our responsibility to go and communicate that with each of the teams to find the right solution that's going to make their experience a lot better, help them, achieve their hopes and dreams. And I mean, that's essentially what we're doing.
Right. So what tools are you using to broadcast customer feedback out to the team?
Yeah, I mean, we're using GitHub for any of our conversations with our engineering teams and product teams. And within there, I mean, using screenshots, we have little templates within GitHub that we use for like new feature requests or bug reports, and prioritizing them based upon like how many customers it's impacting and like the amount of pain that it's causing. So we've kind of quantified the user pain there to communicate it. And that really helps us to prioritize like what issues to fix next, or what features to build.
How quickly do they iterate based on what you bring them? And so you've created a scale to figure out.
Yeah, those Brandon and Leonard worked on that. Yep. So
wow. Okay. Yep. Any other tools? So you mentioned GitHub, that.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, we're using Help Scout, of course. So Help Scout and Beacon for communicating with our customers. We love Help Scout and we love Beacon. So we want to create as many like self-service options too. But when it comes to amplifying the voice, I mean, that's just, make sure that we're talking about it on a weekly basis. We have a weekly call, all hands call as a company. And on there, we have a section just about the customers. Like, I mean, what are they reaching out about? What are they struggling with? And or like, what are they excited about? What are they talking about on social media? So we're checking social media, pulling that in. So Zoom for our calls, I guess, would be another product. I mean, extensively in Help Scout. We're in there constantly.
Great. Yeah, Help Scout. Booyah. I do it myself, and I'm in marketing, so that's it.
Yeah.
Something. But I was going to ask, I love the idea of fusing together with your company about the customers on a weekly basis. I just feel like that creates the enthusiasm to spread that out into everything everybody works on and keeps the customer at the forefront. So good for you. Waldo, how do you feel that amplifying customer voice through the success team at Webflow, how do you feel that it's affected customers, I don't know, morale in terms of knowing like they are independent and capable?
Yeah. I mean, they feel listened to, they feel heard, because we respond in a timely manner, and we're actually checking in. We're not just sending them like an auto reply or saying like, oh, we'll get to that, or we'll check in. Like if someone sends us a message, we're going to read it, we're going to respond, we're going to find someone in the company, figure out a solution, or figure out, hey, maybe they need to use a different solution for whatever problem they're attempting to resolve. And we'll point someone in the right direction there when it comes to that.
Awesome. Okay, so with our viewers here, Waldo, would you mind walking us actually through the Webflow interface, just so people can kind of see that, and then afterwards I'll have you walk us through Webflow University, which is the built-out curriculum you guys have developed to help customers understand. Feel free to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll do that here. 1 second.
While he's getting that ready, ladies and gentlemen, Waldo is from South Africa, if you didn't hear earlier. So if you want a wonderful red burly beard like him, you probably need to.
It's probably from my mom's side. Like French and Irish. I don't know. Somewhere. Yep. Yeah. Well, I do have the designer open here. 1 second. Cool. I'd had a beta feature flagged, so I just disabled that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, here is Webflow, the designer. Yeah, I can move this around. And so here I'm directly in the designer, and it's a website my wife and I are working on for a little company called Midwest Mud Shop. We're selling this little dog themed apparel or actual dog apparel to benefit local shelters. And so, I mean, there are over 3,000 buttons in the interface. So the learning curve is similar to like almost Photoshop level as far as learning, but we do have a ton of free resources to learn how to use everything. But essentially, I mean, over here on the left-hand side, you have an add panel where you can add in any kind of elements you need to use. So if you need to add in a new section here with a heading, or I know I was just talking to Jess, my wife, earlier, like, hey, we need to add in a different contact form like in this next section. So we're probably going to do that instead of having a pop-up, which we currently have that shows up.
And you can just change as soon as you decide, this would be better.
Yeah, I can adjust this. Like I've been hopping in here and like just switching out the main hero image every now and then. Like I'll grab, let's see, maybe this image right here instead.
Oh, sweet. Someone just said awesome logo with all
Thank you. My friend my friend Leah Quinn, she designed it from Queen Ink. Amazing designer to work with. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to the interface, but something I kind of want to touch on here was within e-commerce. What we did is, I mean, it's really important to have self-service options, and that's something that we're doing, company-wide. Provide as many resources as possible so that your customers can find the solution without having to reach out for help. And to do that, you have to ask questions. You have to understand, like, what are they struggling with? And something we realized that a lot of folks were struggling with in e-commerce was like all the steps it takes to launch an e-commerce store, and there's a lot that goes into it. Like you can see, I'm even missing a step here already that I have to go through. But we have a little checklist whenever you're setting up a store. So you can go through and say like, okay, I need my business address. I need to add products or shipping method, or review the tax settings, or add to cart. Or like here, I can see I should design the e-commerce emails. And I can hop in and style out what those would look like as far as what the customers are going to receive during those experiences. And I think I'm just going to hit save for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on that note, it's just creating self-service options. And I could go super in depth on Webflow, but I usually do that on streams.
Definitely.
But basically, like on the right-hand side here, we have the style panel, and you can style out any of the elements that you're working on. I've these products inside of a dynamic list. So say now I've added, I don't know, padding to this, or you'll see that it's adding padding to all the images within this list here.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just pressing Command Z to undo that. And you can live preview the site directly.
Yeah.
To
without having to publish.
Yeah, without having to publish. And we can click into a product, and it's going to take us to that detail page where I have an entire template. It's loading a bit slow right now, the internet connection, but sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, this is insane. Like talking to people, I've taken some coding courses, light little JavaScript here and there, but this is like groundbreaking to see. And I've been using Webflow, it's been a while since I walked through the technical logistics of it.
Yeah. I mean, being able to style out a product page is something that I've never really been able to do aside from, I mean, I used FoxyCart before as an integration, but being able to do that like visually, which is the great part here. I wanted to add little plus and minus buttons for whenever you're like adding quantity in the cart, and be able to add like a little note like, hey, we only ship on Saturdays. Like I wanted to make sure that was explicit in managing those expectations. So I just added in a little note there. Or I've got like a sizing chart here that only shows up when the product is like, product name is sweaters. So I've got little dog sweaters that this only shows up there, but if I want to go look at a different product like Santa hats, it's not going to show that little piece right there. Yeah.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah. And you can style out the whole checkout experience, like what that's going to look like. Like say now we wanted to, I just wanted to highlight like the payment info here to make that easier to see. We have a standard template, but you can move all these elements around on the screen to adjust what that experience is like. I haven't been able to do that before because you'd have to write like liquid in Shopify, or make some pretty intense templates with coding. Whereas here I can just do it visually.
Wow.
So I can say items in your order for this experience. I don't know. Like if I wanted to update that, I can do that as simply as typing in the text, and then I can publish a change.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I have a question, Waldo.
Yeah.
Well, you obviously Webflow is continually adding new features, and I know much of those are based around customer feedback and requests. It's necessary. You mentioned that you yourself are continually picking up new technical skills in order to keep up with that. Do you feel like you've tried to forward that onto your team that you manage?
Yeah, I mean, I encourage everyone to go in and like build a site. I mean, I wanted to learn how to use our new e-commerce feature, so decided to make this with my wife. And you really need to understand your product so that you can communicate it better. If you don't understand the product, it's going to be nearly impossible to communicate and empathize with the struggles that your customers are understanding. And different team members are going to gravitate towards building like more interactive things, or like the more complex issues, or maybe the more like strategic, like how you should build this, instead of like, oh, I want everything to do X, Y, and Z, like all the bells and whistles, if you will. So it's just hop in, use the product, experience it, and do it like at least on a monthly basis, if not weekly. Yeah.
Do you have any kind of system to monitor training progress for new tools for your team?
Yeah. So we're actually building an internal learning management system right now. Micah Johnson is building out that template, and it's actually going to be a Webflow site so that we can track like everything, like how to learn as far as like what we do day to day as a team. And then of course, Webflow University would be for all of our customers. In there, we're not like tracking progress yet, but that is one of the planned stages for the university.
To track the progress of customers or users, I should say, who are moving their way through that curriculum.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Will you show us this?
So,
Go through a
yeah, so
couple.
this is Webflow University.
Yeah, this is like the equivalent of like
Mhm.
a knowledge base on steroids kind of thing.
Yeah. So if I came in here and I wanted to learn about like, I don't know, rich text, like rich text elements or something, I can just search for it, and then I'll find a video, which is loading up here. And you can watch a beautiful video. They're actually really hilarious. A lot of time and effort has gone into making these videos and experiences. I definitely encourage you to go and watch some. It makes learning a lot of fun. So I enjoy things that make me laugh, and as I'm sure most of us do. But yeah, you can go through here, learn anything and everything. And if you can't find information about that specific item or how to do something, you can always scroll to the bottom of that, and you can tell us how helpful that lesson was. Let us know with a little rating, and you can even send us a message, and that goes directly to our inbox. Or if you found a bug or need more help, you can just contact us directly. Click on this link, it'll take you to this form. And this is like our contact form what you use to reach out to us.
Right. What a flow. That's so systematic. And hey, if you don't mind, I have a question from one of our guests here. He says, how has the usage been of the getting started checklist for your customers? Has there been any feedback for it, in-product education resources? And would you recommend correlating its usage with retention metrics in analytics tools? I can repeat any of those. So.
Oh, yeah. So there are quite a few questions there.
How has the usage been of the getting started checklist for your all of your?
They love it. That's been one of the first comments. They're like, oh, now I know like exactly what I need to do to launch. Which like building a website and launching one can be a pretty complex experience. And we want to make sure that you hit like all the notes, especially because you're able to have this full control of the design. Everyone's really enjoyed that so far from our feedback. And that one, it's not super intrusive. Like it pops up on the side and you can close it. I know that I found different experiences with like an intro of how to use a product, like using a third-party app sometimes can be challenging to like get through, or be like, oh, I just want to use the tool to do X, Y, and Z. So I mean, we use Beacon to like kind of prompt our customers as well, like learn like more in context tutorials, or like how to learn or use anything. Okay, I think I'm veering off the question a bit.
That's right. Has there been any feedback for the in-product education resource? So now that you guys are focusing all of that educational material within, rather than having them externally linked to the blog or something, what's been the response?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our customers enjoy that. I mean, the less that they have to reach out, typically, the easier and more seamless the experience is. And so they have those self-service options, saying that's something that Andrew really championed here, where they're able to go and find the resources on their own, or they see it in context, like you'll see a little pop-up or a tooltip whenever you're hovering over anything within the designer interface. It kind of says like, here's what this is. And we're going to launch something pretty soon that'll make that experience even better. So stay tuned.
Wow. And then his last question is, would you recommend correlating its usage with retention metrics through analytics tools?
As far as the getting started list?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, that would make perfect sense to me. Like you can see where they're falling off. If you see that they're getting to step 2 or 3 and then that's where they kind of fall off, then you know, like, hey, we need to make some adjustments to the product or this experience or the tutorial to make that better. So I would definitely recommend that because it helps you realize the blockers. Yeah.
Definitely. He added Webflow looks amazing. Loves that. Thank you, Andrew. Someone said, oh, they're already watching your videos, saying they are very funny and enjoyable. Someone loves the checklist. Someone asked, do you reward people for learning, or do they just have the desire to do so? Is there any kind of incentive for them to progress through those lists?
I mean, right now the reward is you're able to build professional looking websites and offer a lot more value to your company or to what you're ending up to do. So it's like they're learning. I mean, a lot of our customers really do enjoy learning and being able to build out what they wanted to in the first place. So they kind of have their own carrot, if you will, as far as like learning, but we don't incentivize that at this time.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, the gift is built in. They can't wait to go take it and apply it.
Yeah.
Whatever they can learn. That's so great. So I have more questions about scaling. So Waldo, you have mentioned a little bit, I think that you said there's been a 35% increase as Webflow has been scaling with your customer base. So can you tell us all about how you've scaled your education process? I know now that you're doing live chat and upvotes and things, but how have you been scaling maybe with your material resources as well as seeing how customers are doing according to their needs?
Yeah. I mean, it's been about 30 to 40% increase since August of inquiries. That kind of happens whenever you're launching new features or new products that people are interested. They want to learn about it. So we release tutorials on Webflow University on everything that we release. And then we've really worked on more self-service options, which Andrew's been instrumental in. We use Beacon, so you'll see that whenever you're on like any kind of billing page. So here I'm just like looking at the dashboard for the Midwest Mud Shop site. And on the right-hand side here, you can see a Beacon. And in here, there's some suggested articles. So those suggested articles, it's like pricing and plan, frequently asked questions. So I can kind of read through here and see like, oh, okay, that's what an account plan is versus hosting subscriptions. And it's linked off to additional resources that are available. So we can set up the questions based upon like what kind of questions do customers usually ask when they're in this context. And previously we were using Intercom, but we found that we really enjoyed these self-service options as well as the ability to turn off live chat if we need to. If we're not able to offer it at that time, they can still directly contact us here and we'll get that message in Help Scout and we can respond. So it's all in like one system, which we absolutely love.
Centralize everything. Just make the customer's experience as easy as possible. I love what you just mentioned about the contextual questions, kind of paying attention, your team is paying attention to maybe the scenarios customers are in when they're asking a certain tone or type of question. In a recent webinar that we did with Basecamp, the principal of customer support was talking about being a detective and asking the types of questions of your customers to figure out what exactly were they feeling, doing, thinking when they asked this question. Then it empowers your support team to figure out how they would like the solution to look and to flesh out with, so that you can then package that for the engineering team. So I'm sure your customers are grateful when they see, oh, he's catering, the next couple steps of support, help, success, training to how I'm currently feeling rather than how I was doing a couple months ago. So scaling, do you feel like there have been a few challenges in keeping your customers all in the same boat through that? Tell us about it.
I mean, there's definitely all kinds of things that you're going to run into whenever you're scaling. And the main thing is you want to prioritize your customers that are coming in and the inquiries that are the most time sensitive or the highest impact. So we have different mailboxes within Help Scout to help us prioritize any kinds of issues that come through, as well as we're looking at the split of like frontline, backline type conversations where like frontline would be like account billing, client billing, how to use Webflow, what is this product, why does it exist, and like QAing any of the conversations and replies that we're sending. And then backline would be more so like, okay, I have this really intense project that's I'm trying to do all these things with, and you need someone with more like product specific knowledge. So we found like the specialization between those conversations is super helpful because then you can spend less time switching context, like the context switch between answering a refund question compared to how do I fix this interaction on my site is very challenging. Or like I ran into this bug. It's very challenging to switch context like that. And we found that if you can specialize or like batch any of the conversations, it's usually a lot easier to just like charge through them.
Oh, amazing. There's a principle in the Deep Work book by Cal Newport who talks about how there is something called residual attention, where if you're switching back and forth between what you're working on and a few distraction things like email or Slack or all that, you have residual of your past activity hurting you potentially. So it's very smart, the categorization and organization you guys are doing. Very neat. Okay, so scaling. What would you recommend to other success teams out there who are dealing with that same challenge, kind of trying to rate what it means?
I mean, pay close attention to your first reply times, of course, and pay attention to what customers are reaching out to. Like, what are the highest volume conversations you're having? Like, if they're billing questions or if there's specific product questions that you find yourselves answering over and over and over again, there's probably a different solution aside from just answering them constantly. Go and create documentation, or if you can, suggest a product update, which is something that we do regularly. If you can make a change in the product that impacts the customer experience in a positive way, that's going to solve the problem for a lot more people, and it's going to make it so that you spend less time responding to those repetitive questions. So that's a big one. Identify the high impact issues. Use tagging in Help Scout. That's a super helpful feature that we use. We usually tag by different product area. If someone's like confused, like we have a plan confusion tag, like some customers are confused, like which plans to choose. So we've, batching those conversations together allows us to have a lot more insights that we can go and look into, and then, work with the product team or with the marketing team to make updates to the whole experience.
Great. Waldo, so as a manager of a success team, why don't you tell us about how you manage your team? What are some values that you instill and maybe methods you do to keep everybody moving forward?
Yeah. All right, so my favorite book is Love Works by Joel Mandy. And I'm a big believer of servant leadership and being there to serve, and ask your team, like, what can I help to empower you to be the best version of yourself? Like, who do you want to be? Like, I ask those kinds of questions. Like, what are we doing to get there? I have a list of questions, and we have one-on-ones every week. And right now I'm in the process of, promoting 2 team members to managers. So it's like another experience that I'm like learning a lot in that. So it's, the weekly one-on-ones, we have conversations in Slack all the time. We have calls on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday are like the optional calls. Like on Monday, we're currently, Andrew started like a book club. We're reading Radical Candor together. Highly, highly recommend that book if you haven't read it yet. And so we're like reading that together, and then there's like a whole like question guide that goes with it. And the conversations that have come from that have been incredibly fruitful as a team. And it's a fully distributed team. So that's like another.
You're all remote.
Yeah. So that's another facet. We're all over the world. And we record videos for each other. We found that really helpful. Like even this week, like we've had several new team members join, and they have a lot of questions. So we're like, I'll actually go and use CloudUp, and I'll make a video of like, here's how to do this in like 2 or 3 minutes, and then send that over instead of like writing out an entire guide like right then and there. It's a lot faster for me to just record a video, send it over. I know they're going to get it. It's accessible on any other devices.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, bravo. I can tell just from my recent conversations with you, you are a leader who's very vested in every single person's progress on your team. So good for you. So Waldo, maybe I feel like I say your name with every new question because it's such a by the way, to our viewers who are here, feel free to submit any questions that you might have to Waldo about customer success, onboarding, scaling, and customer loyalty. So with customer loyalty, maybe you could tell us a bit about how your education curriculum at Webflow has influenced the lifetime of a customer. So maybe when the difference between their first stages of onboarding to maybe becoming more familiar with the product, and do they stay strong in their advocacy? Go for it.
Yeah. At first they're like really skeptical. They're like, oh, it's another drag and drop tool, which is not. It's a professional web design tool where you can go and you have a blank canvas. It's not templatized. We do have templates for you to learn how to do everything, and free resources. So, I mean, as far as that goes, it's just like investing the time to learn how to do everything. And our videos are only, a minute to 5 minutes long. You can see this whole crash course is an hour and 58 minutes if you wanted to go and learn. And then the Webflow forum, our community there is just, it's incredible. Like, you can go on the forum at any time and you'll see there a few, like or close to 100 conversations a day, like going on here. If anyone submitting questions, and staff members we're all in there responding, or asking questions in different categories. So this is where you end up doing a lot of like how do I design X, Y, and Z, or I'm working on this experience. How do you do that? And you can search through here. It's an amazing repository of like anything you wanted to learn, like say social sharing widget or something. And we use Discourse for our forum. If you want to check out that app. And say now, okay. So here, I mean, you can see there's a lot of different features here. I found one from 2015 that I made. I was like, how to share anything you want to easily on the web. So, I mean, a lot of community members are making show and tell tutorials or showing us projects they're working on, or they're like, someone here just launched like lab tests for dogs with Watchdog Labs.
Look at that.
And let's see. So it's a site built in Webflow to like help you find the right
part of your project. You get to see every customer's project like displayed for you to take part in and feel like you guys influence that.
Yeah, and our customers are creating these tutorials, so the community is incredible. And we also
how do you help customers? What do you do to let them know, hey, like, feel free to train others with the stuff you've been up to? Do you give them instructions to do that, or do they just on their own incentive decide, I'm going to create a training video of what I'm doing?
Yeah, I mean, we invite them to become community moderators, depending on like how they're engaging with the community, and like we're constantly having conversations with everyone there, and our community mods. I think they get a free pro plan, and it's a pretty nice incentive. So we're always looking for like reaching out to the community to help our customers, because we can only do so much as a team, and part of our like support policies, like we don't help with design related questions, but we will point you to the right resources, because we don't want to take that work away from potential freelance designer that you could hire, or someone in the community that's like taking the opportunity away from them.
Interesting.
So
and preserves a little of your bandwidth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How selfish. Just kidding. Waldo, someone here asked, does Webflow offer live webinars kind of similar to the one that you and I are doing right now? And if so, what do those look like? How are those different? Yeah. Maybe the 5-minute videos you've recorded.
Yeah, every other Tuesday there's a Webflow workshop, and you can find those on our YouTube channel, and webflow.com/workshops. I don't know if that page might have moved it. I know it's on our YouTube channel. Just Webflow. I believe that's our channel. Yeah. So let me pull that up. But Nelson does, or AKA Pixel Geek, does live webinars all the time. Next week we have a live Q&A with our CEO, Vlad. So please be sure to join in if you want to ask any questions. But here you can find all kinds of videos, streams. I mean, multiple of us make our own videos as well, or like we'll do a first look of like the e-commerce beta, or we did first look of like CSS grid. I mean, there are hundreds of videos in here to go and learn from, and you can ask us as well. Send us a message on Twitter, or like tweet to us about stuff that you want to learn about, and we'll go do a webinar or a workshop. We also do meetups all over the world. So let's see, meetup.
Like live in-person events.
Yeah, in-person events. So we've got them here in St. Louis. We've got 3,758 members already, from 21 groups in 11 countries all over the world. Here we go. Kind of look here. You've got someone in New Zealand. And you can see like when the next meetups are coming up or the past ones. So.
Wow, and I heard that Webflow is willing to fund the airfare for people to go to meetups wherever they'd like.
Nope, that's
nice Christmas party. I'll go to the one in New Zealand. So along with customer advocacy that we were talking about, the life cycle of a customer, I feel like customers see the education process and how catered it is to them and are going to be all the more likely to refer friends to Webflow. And do you feel like that's been happening? Have they become more advocates or evangelists for Webflow?
Yeah, so here, one second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny because, before everyone that was signing up to use Webflow was like this secret, like superpower that you found, like, oh, I could build these amazing experiences visually. And then their clients were falling in love with it. And then their clients wanted to know, like, how do I do that too? And they're like, okay, I can't do all of this work. They have to find other designers to like empower. So a lot of them now are sharing about Webflow, what they're building in our platform. And I don't know, that's been really beautiful, like watching that transition of like, they want to help other designers build, amazing experiences or just empowering one another. I mean, Pablo Stanley, he's over here. He's one of my favorite humans. Like he's building really cool stuff and he's making it clonable. So that's something really cool. Where you can go and like actually like clone a project and learn, like use it in Webflow, get the library and everything.
Wow.
So
CloudUp recently hosted Pablo for a webinar.
Oh, no way. What? Pablo. He's awesome.
You guys can go head to head to decide who will be on again.
Pablo and I can do a stream. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll combine.
Yeah.
And you told me that what you've seen from what you've observed in your customer success efforts is that customers by year one, they're still kind of getting their feet on solid ground with your product.
Yeah.
And then come year two, once they feel like they've been taken care of, thanks to your success efforts, they're more likely to pay it forward, send it out, and get more people on board, which is what we're talking about. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. So, and like, it's also interesting, like kind of our customer base has been shifting over time because we've had kind of like the early adopters that like really fell in love with the platform. They use the tools, or they use Webflow, and now they're telling all their friends, or their friends that they've been telling about Webflow for the past year are finally like hopping in and starting to build things. And then they're like, whoa, like having those aha moments, which is really exciting. And a lot of them, I mean, they've been using the same tools for a long time. So making that switch is a bit more complex for them potentially. So they have a lot more questions about like, how do I transition from this product to yours? So you have to create resources for that. And you have to answer all the questions, learn what the complexities are. So that's really important to learn there.
And how do you recommend doing that? Asking?
Yeah, I mean, asking questions, asking experts. Yeah. It's like, we don't want to just create a page. Like we have a Webflow versus Shopify page, and we went and asked like experts that use those products before we went and built these pages out. Or like we have a Webflow versus WordPress page, where we want our customers to make the decision themselves, like as far as like ease of use, or we create as many resources as possible for folks to like learn for themselves, make that decision themselves. So we have to make more of these because we have more folks coming from other platforms to Webflow. So
great. And how do you think that strengthening product value for your customers helps to offset potential alternatives in terms of tools they could be turning to? So I guess that's where like the offset of churn kind of can come in with your success efforts. How do you feel like you guys have you've driven focus more on your Webflow product versus, people want to go off and do Squarespace or a million other? Yeah,
I mean, we're focused on delivering the most value possible for most amount of people within our community. I mean, we're not just going to go and like build a random feature for fun, because like we'd like to. We want to ask our customers, like, what's going to bring you the most value? Like, what's going to help you be successful? If you're not working on that, then what are you working on? Would be my question. So like, get to know your audience and have meetings with them. Invite your other team members in. We do all hands support at Webflow. So everyone does 2 days a year where they hop in to help scout, and it's 2 full days at least, where they're communicating with our customers. And they're like, oh, I can go push a feature change for that. Like, our engineers are working in Help Scout, and they're like, I noticed this trend here, and then they go and like push a new feature fix or make something easier for us even, and especially for our customers. So it's just stay close to the customers, know them. Yeah.
Oh, forwards and back. I love, you told me that it's as important for your success team to know every part of the educational resources you offer for customers as it is to know your customers and their goals. Yeah. And maybe someone would say, oh no, it's more important to know the customers. But if you know what you, as a doctor, if you know exactly what's going to happen when you prescribe something to somebody, that is demonstration of care, demonstrative of the care you have for the customer. Waldo, what are your favorite aspects of success, and how do you feel that has changed the ecosystem for the customer?
Yeah. I mean, I love hearing the customer out, really understanding where they are, and then finding a solution that's going to help them like level up. Like, I love hearing the success stories of our customers. Like, when we get them almost daily, where customers will reach out and be like, hey, I've been using Webflow for the past 2 years and it's changed my life. So those kinds of stories, or like the questions that come in where it's like, I really want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, how's that going to work within our ecosystem? How could that work? So like being able to have those like strategic discussions about like, how would we implement that kind of feature within our product? And how can we make the experience better? So it's been more like the whole customer experience, like from the education to interaction with the actual product, of course, to interaction with our team. It's really critical to get the nail on the head for each of those different categories.
Oh, completely. You have, Waldo, inspired all of us to become more technically savvy and more holistic in our approach to how to take care of our customers. I am excited to hop into Webflow and make my next website. I'll share it with all of you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Waldo, this has been a phenomenal conversation with you. I'm so glad, grateful to all of our attendees who've been here with us. We are going to wrap up. If you didn't ask your questions, please feel free to still submit them through the links that you were sent for this webinar, and I will be happy to take care of those. Again, we will be having this content out and ready to go for all of you, available this coming Tuesday as we go into the holiday season. So, yay!
And download Cloud App if you have it. I tell your friends to, because we didn't know this. I told my friend Nathan the other day, like, about Cloud App, and he just like fell in love with it. He's like, what have I been doing my whole life? Like, we've known me for so many years. Why are you only telling me now?
Romantic infatuation with software. Cloud App and Webflow. So.
Yeah. Providing utility and ease of use is, I don't know, it goes.
Oh, we're so happy to hear that. Thank you. Yeah, support and success people seem to really like it. So.
Yes, we love it.
Thank you, Webflow Waldo. We are so grateful for your help and expertise. Everybody, we're signing off live from San Francisco and Missouri. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.